What?
All right, make sure it's perfect. Perfect.
There you go. All right, there we go. Does that look good?
It looks incredible. The lighting's great.
I can't hear him.
Hold on, I don't know what's going on here. There we go.
All right.
Oh, I see it. It's turning the volume down automatically. So hold on, I gotta work around for this.
All right,
Can you hear you now?
I hear you perfectly.
Yeah, I got
you. The way I had it set up, the volume button kept getting
How
pressed.
come it's not like I'm looking at the screen?
Because the camera's over here. That's what. That's. So like when you talk, if you want to look like you're talking more in like directly at people, just look over at that dot.
Modern technology.
Yeah.
If you want to talk looking at me, it looks like you're looking at the screen enough, the camera enough. So I'll be looking pretty much at your face, like I am now, and that's good enough for the camera.
So if I do this, it looks like I'm looking at you.
Yeah, that's perfect for the audience. They're seeing you. You look like you're looking at the audience, so it's no problem.
Right on. Okay.
So let's start off, man. Chance TV is here with a rock god, a legend, truly one of the best, because if Keith Richards says you're one of the best rock guitarists out there, that's just, you can't get higher than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a, it's been a fun ride.
Yeah. How many multi-platinum albums? It's insane.
What's that?
How many multi-platinum albums you guys have had? That's insane.
Hey, Jimmy, I'm going to try and get a little more volume really quick here. Hold on real quick.
That's all. This is as high as it goes.
Okay. Let's make it to where it doesn't turn itself down. Sorry about this.
No, this happens every time. This is a new world.
Okay.
Is that a little bit louder for you?
Yep.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
But holler at me if you need me to adjust something.
All right. I'm
probably
challenged to all you out there.
Yeah, but when you pick the axe up, that's where you shine, and nobody can do it like you.
Thank you.
First of all, loved your music forever. Always have. I got a Strat Lead too when I was like 13 and tried to learn Eruption, and that's where I got hooked.
Yeah.
But people like you take it to a whole nother level. So I'll just give you the questions as somebody who kind of was in your shoes a long time ago. What was the first solo that you learned that you could really play?
I don't know if I could really play. It was, I kind of like, I don't know. I mean, like note for note, it wasn't really, I think once I found like, how to learn and work with scales, even at a young age, or even when you're learning your, I guess like pentatonic scales and all that stuff, and just jamming along to things and just kind of knowing how to like take the melodies in my head and be able to play them on the guitar, and then just being able to put your own little voicing into songs when we cover them. But I mean, as far as a note for note, I remember I wanted to learn, because I was always listening to all kinds of albums from all the old Detroit Rock City, British Invasion, the Motown, all the old funk R&B records. So it's like there was so many sounds that I want to be able to create with guitar. But I remember when I heard the solo of Time, Pink Floyd, off Dark Side of the Moon, and it was like the way I was used to learning guitar. Like when I got Miles Davis' Bitches Brew, I was 10 years old, and this guy who was a DJ had all these demonstration not for sale records at a garage sale around the corner, and I just knew that he was good because my guy that was teaching me guitar was like, I'm like, well, I got to buy this record, and I couldn't figure out the guitar parts, so I listened to the horn parts because I was only 10, and I'd hear them in my head, and then it's kind of mimic them back. So, I think finding its own voice. But I'm getting off subject from what you were asking me.
That was all really good stuff, though. This is important stuff.
Yeah. What's that now?
That gave me a lot of questions. What you said that I was going to get to. Were you had a guitar teacher But was a lot of your learning by ear of
Yeah,
hearing things, and sitting at home
yeah,
and going, "That sounds right, that's wrong"?
yeah. I only had teachers when I was, younger, but they were, I was pretty eager, and they were amazing guitar players that put a lot of stuff into me, and I've through the years was able to start figuring out how to utilize it. Especially with like I always found that knowing like all your scales and all that kind of thing as much as you can, and different chords where you're able to find these different voicings, and even as a writer, it makes when you're fishing for an idea a lot better, to have that kind of thing. But I was never really formally trained. I mean, I took, music classes in high school and stuff. I, got thrown into this professionally right out of high school. So I never went on to any music schools, but I did study somewhat in music classes in high school, and they wanted me to go in a direction, but I was more, my ear was my thing, because I had no attention span when I was younger, and, comprehension skills were one way weren't good, but with music, I was able to see it in these patterns, and it came way easier to me than it did to other people that were learning it. To me, it seemed like the hard way. And I just wanted to jump in and make music. So I was a little, I kind of, did the Cliff Note version of it and jumped in with both feet. So,
The Cliff Note rock star. Love it.
I mean, but you listen to all the great, my favorite guitar players to listen to. It's, there's one thing to be, like you do got to learn somewhat from a technical aspect, so what, how to play, but you still got to come back and play less. It's like you listen to like old great blues songs, or it's just a few notes, and that they're just milking, and but then there's stuff that calls for it to be, there's a beautiness to like great jazz and old jazz, where there's a talent there that a lot of these young players can't even fathom even knowing how to do that old school way of playing. So I have a vast appreciation for all that as well. But it's really about so many players. It's something about really playing to the song, really what the song is called for. Because if you want to make timeless music that people want to hear, you gotta bring it from here. And people try to overplay stuff. And if they're trying, I mean, some of the least technical players still can be some of the best soothing people to listen to, because they're playing from that soulful
But
feeling.
AC/DC, I fell in love with AC/DC,
Yeah.
and everyone says he knows 3 chords, but he's got 10 songs that I love since I heard them for 40 years.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's like AC/DC is like a prime example of just real rock and roll. I love AC/DC, and Angus Young and Malcolm, the whole band. I mean, were amazing. I was always a big fan.
Yeah,
That was
I heard that guitar tone,
and I was like, people would ask me back in the day when they'd modify our old Marshalls and stuff, and they're like, who do you want to, who you want to sound like? I'm like, I want to make it sound like a cross between Hendrix and AC/DC, and I think you'll have the right idea what I want the amp to sound like.
Well, speaking of Hendrix, I read it was you were around like 10 or 11 going around the house with your first Hendrix songs. What were they? Because Hendrix is known as someone who you can't play like. I mean, you can, but at 10, his sound, his ability.
It's a different kind of thing. I was really running around the house, and I was like 3 or 4 singing Foxy Lady. That was like, like when you're a little kid and you give your kid a bath and they take off running through the house, try to run out in the neighborhood without their clothes on. And that was my go-to song was Foxy Lady. I was like probably, 3 years old then, it's like, but that was like one of the first songs that I would sing. And, my parents, friends, they all laugh. Kenny, what song do you like? I'd be like, Foxy Lady, and just like do the air guitar thing. So I think it was embedded into me. It was Jimmy's one of those people that, for his short career, he did more than anybody could, has ever done in the longest, lifespan careers. But it's just his experimentation. But there's a way certain players have it, and that's what I was saying, go back to like the technical players. I've worked with some players that are, amazing sight readers, even people from symphonies, and they can't just come in and make up a part for it. They want a chart in front of them. I'm just like, it's like, okay. But, there's different kinds of people. But Jimmy, it's more like when you asked to be that field player. It's like one day you just don't even know when it happens, but you just grow this ability where you just leave your body when you're playing the guitar, and just kind of something else comes through, and you're able to, you're not thinking about what you're playing. You're just riding this, you've called on the rock and roll spirits, and you just literally left your body, and you're like riding this wave that's just like, and you're enjoying it just as much as the people listening to it, because you're dancing yourself in it and feeling it. And that's what Jimmy always, there's certain players that just have that ability to do that, and that sound, and to have a sound where you just hear somebody playing. Listen, like Carlos Santana, for example. You as soon as you hear Carlos hit one note or two notes, you're like, my man, there he is. It's like, and he plays all kinds of beautiful. He's able to go in a very advanced way as a great player that he is, with the knowledge he has, but he's also taps into that outer body experience thing, and it's like, and this is something that doesn't require for you to be on anything to do. It's something where you're just able to, I mean, the best stuff that I've ever done is stuff I don't remember what I did when I played it. That's what we call beautiful mistakes. That's why I have my project that I have right now with all these different legends I'm working on is called the Beautiful Mistakes. But, if you've ever thought about it, and it's like, I like taking old little, I could have a room full of the best equipment, and I just like taking old amps that have fingernail polish holding the thing together from the 40s. And I mean, I just recorded an amp with an amp the other day from 1947 that a buddy of mine brought over to the studio, and he's like, check this thing out. And I'm like, let's use it. And it sounds amazing, organic.
I was wondering if you were into like the tube amplifiers and messing boogies and all that stuff. Was that part of it at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the to get those old sounds. I mean, there's a lot of new equipment out there that people think emulates it well, but it's difference between like, processed cheese and Wisconsin cheese. You can't. There's still this warmth that, analog, even recording wise, I try to use as much vintage equipment going in. I collect guitars, and so I have all kinds of old guitars, Fenders and Gibsons, and then their custom shops that are true to the old stuff that are incredible. But amp wise, I like to, when you record, you want to use like a different amp if you're going to multi-layer guitars, because like nowadays when people use a digital signal, it's like a flat signal. It's either going to be too loud in the mix or too low. And where the older organic stuff that's not all compressed before you compress it later as an overall mix of the song, it's alive. You feel like the tube amp reacts with you as you play it. It becomes part of you, and that's the best music is something that's a part of you. You can take what you're feeling and translate it through this. And for me, it's easier. But I mean, there's different kinds of music that's done created as guitar wise, and a lot of other instruments, drums, keyboards, and vocals. I mean, we were. Norwood and I, Fisher and Steve Perkins, were over recording, and my buddy Andy Kravitz, and he had this old microphone from the 50s that had reverb built right into it. And that's the reverb I used on the amp, and I swear there were spirits like in my fingers or in my amp, like making my guitar.
You might be amped up with that. Yeah. You might be amped up with that thing. That must have been incredible.
Yeah, I ended up, and then I didn't have any effects on the guitar or anything. It was just I had just an old Strat through I think it was just an old tube amp, just no effects, just this old microphone with reverb, but it sounded awesome. And people overlook, I mean, it's fun to experiment, and when you layer all those things in there, and then music today, like if I'm doing like a hip hop, track or something like that, it's really fun to take all that old organic stuff and then hybrid it, where I'll have real drums, and then like me and DJ Hurricane, we've taken stuff out of the vaults, from like even with the old Rick Rubin stuff he did. There was like drum beats that weren't used, and we've taken those and put real drums on them with those tracks, and I put like wrote some guitar line things over it, and taken we've been, it's all this like great stuff sitting around it. I mean, I have hundreds and hundreds of things that are better than anything anybody's ever heard me do that are just sitting there, and it's So I started with this downtime, having fun to, start resurrecting certain things. And see
Well, that's great. You're hitting
when
the
we finish
ball.
it.
Get in there and get that stuff done. Do you still have the '64 Fender Strat?
Oh yeah.
The favorite? Okay.
Yeah, I've had that since I was a teenager, and it was I had quite a it'd be a long story. We'd have to do a whole other interview about the history of that guitar, but
We can do that. We'll arrange it.
it's got quite amazing history. But yeah, I still have that guitar. I've gotten quite a few cents, but that was the one that was with me through that when before the success came in, and was getting free guitars from endorsements, or able to buy other vintage instruments every time I'd have to maybe sell something or this or that. That guitar was never a consideration. It's been like it's a part of me. I've gotten, like I said, many others since then, but that's the one that will always be known as the real extension of me.
Yeah, that's
That's
what B.B. King had his guitar. I forget what he called it, Maybelline or something. Yeah, he had a special one that was in his heart. Okay, let's get to some quick questions. These are just random, gets people an idea. If you had to have someone play you in a movie about your life and all the crazy stuff, who would you want to play you, of any actor?
And who would be the actor to play me in a movie?
And assume they can play guitar. They'll fake that.
Jeez. God, who would I want to have play me in a movie?
Who could pull it off? Could Robert Downey Jr. do it, or?
Poor thing. How much are they going to pay him? No.
Nowadays, who knows?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I'm not sure who would be quite that person. They'd have to be really good. They'd have to be really good looking, though.
Oh, they'd have to be like Brad Pitt or somebody, obviously.
Yeah, Brad Pitt would probably do a good job at it. Johnny Depp, any of those guys. Someone who's got some swagger. Looks.
Yeah. And Johnny plays.
Or maybe back in the day, someone like Dennis Hopper might be, or Peter Fonda. One of those guys might be good at it too, or not.
Yeah, one of the legends.
I don't know. Maybe
And Johnny Depp is doing something with Jeff Beck right now. Yeah. I don't know what they're up to, but I read about something. So I don't know his level, but he's committed. He's into it.
Jackson, we had Tenacious D came out when I back in the
Oh no.
We brought them on the road with us for a few months. I think it was a few months. It was just a blast. I mean, they were like,
I can't imagine those two maniacs. Yeah, I was an extra forever ago when I was trying to be an actor, and it was a movie he did called School of Rock.
Yep.
And he played the teacher, whatever, music for the music class. And we had about a 5-hour problem on set while he was on stage with all the kids in an auditorium. For 5 hours, he entertained us, from having us guess his weight to him playing Led Zeppelin songs, like screaming and jamming, and then talking about Star Wars. We weren't bored for a second. That guy is a natural entertainer, and he rocks. I mean,
they're both, him and Kyle are both very talented and very intelligent, but it was just his real person is definitely, is equally entertaining, but in an awesome way. He's just they were a treat to be around. I had a lot of fun, and they got to involve me with some of their shenanigans on stage, where I'd be in the middle of their show and you have these little Nerf darts that you'd have ready for the show, and I'd run behind the stage and launch them off before the time was supposed to be, and then he'd turn around and look, and I wouldn't be there, and it was like the whole little that old school comic routine, because he was like, we met each other first, and we're like, oh, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, he's like, you're a taller version of me, and I'm like, and you're a shorter version of me, and we gave each other like a big hug kind of thing. So we were
from the start.
Yeah.
Nothing but trouble. There's a third guy in Tenacious D now. Yeah. Perfect. I'm trying to think of what was the best guitar moment for you when you were in the audience, or maybe even if you were at home and saw someone play on stage on TV. Was there something that hit you at any age?
something that I saw on TV
or maybe saw it in the
live
concert?
in concert. God, I've definitely been blessed to witness a lot of cool stuff. I don't know. I remember as a kid being blown away with watching Jimmy doing Machine Gun, Band of Gypsies, you know, and just started holding that long note. And it was just like, it just took me to a whole nother place, which, you know, later on in life, I was able to, you know, as a guitar player, go to that place. And there was a note that he played that just kind of showed me like a light at the end of the tunnel of what you're going for. And it was live, Band of Gypsies live, you know, so I can't say that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like I said, I've witnessed and watched played, and there's been so many great players, but I visually seen with my eyes and feeling what it was. You know, a long time ago, I recall that moment, you know.
Wow,
There's certain songs when you first hear them. I remember, you know, like the timing, the first time I heard Bridge of Sighs, you know, it was like with Robin Trower, it was, I was in the back seat of a car, and, you know, like this young kid just starting playing guitar, and someone whips out a joint. All of a sudden there's a big cloud of smoke in the back of the old muscle car, growing up in Detroit on Woodward Avenue. And all of a sudden there's this like, wow, wow, wow. And then the smoke around, I was like, yeah. I was like,
yeah, this is what it's all about.
But,
well, speaking of that, what can you tell us? And this show is not a PG show. What I can only imagine touring was like with groupies and backstage. Can you just tell us a little for the audience that always wants to know what that's like?
I mean, it's I don't think anybody would ever like believe half the crazy shit we see out there. It's but I mean, when you first, like, I guess when it first happens, you know, it's it kind of it's I don't know, because at first it can be overwhelming and just mind blowing, and so much going on that you don't want to miss out on anything. And some people, others, it's different, where it takes some people a longer time than others to become what I call friends with the road.
Okay.
Because a lot of stuff can like go by that you don't even get to appreciate, like your first time doing all these tours, because you're too busy sleeping off the night before the tour bus, you know. And, you know, eventually, you know, and it's like, at first, you know, I mean, like our shows were, you know, we were a traveling circus in the Kid Rock years. I mean, we had 8 strippers hired every night to be on stage with us. And they were, you know, most of them were all, you know, became cool friends. There's girls that wanted to come and dance. I mean, we were respectful, you know, gentlemen. We weren't like, I mean, you know, the groupies and you know, those kind of people, they're, you know, you do have some people that come there for different intentions, and you don't know what people's are intentions and why they want you. And then when it's, you know, in the beginning, when it's a big party, you're not as aware of it all. But then eventually, after, you know, you got your first tour bus and people are coming on your bus, and sell out or settlement money from shows is missing, and laptop computers or things are disappearing out of people's bunk because someone else had someone on the bus. And and then eventually everybody settles down, starts having kids and getting married, and then eventually you're like, bus becomes more of a, you know, a relaxed environment for the people that are on the band, and it just kind of becomes more of a, I mean, playing the show is the big part. You know, we had our routine, but, you know, depending on people's traveling situations, you know, it's usually on to the next town. And when you start doing it that way too, though, you actually start getting up and maybe walk around the city you're in and experience things. And so it's kind of, you know, for me, and I think a lot of other people, to survive it, that, you know, have seen it from all perspectives, you just kind of, you know, you live and learn.
Okay. But the girls must have been amazing at times and such
But
a temptation.
there's things that I mean, like I said, if it was so much crazy stuff happening that where, I mean, literally, like if a unicorn walked in my tour bus, I'd be just like, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah, it wouldn't shock
Hey,
me.
take a picture with me.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, who are you?
Oh, that's
It's like,
crazy. That's crazy.
but
Um,
yeah, there's definitely. I mean, there's so many great moments, but there's moments that you share with a lot of your other friends that are big name artists, and people have asked me to do books and stuff like different things, but it's not. There's so many things that involve your own friends that have a name and they have families and stuff too, and it's not
sure.
like anybody's. It's not like bad like people make it out to, because most people were family. We're just people just having fun. You can dive too deep into that world, and there's a lot of side effects that come along with that. So I was
I just assumed all the hired strippers got pregnant, and that was that. But I
no,
guess not.
we were we're most people I've known out there pretty it's you got to you got to have common sense, and people it's definitely there's never been any dull moment, still never a dull moment in my life.
No, he's been on a roll. He's been on a
Yeah.
roll. Do you remember a moment like you're saying, where you kind of hit that note and it's a magical wave, a musical wave that you're just in? Do you remember the first time you were there? Like, were you playing a solo where you could have been at home, or any time really where you just lost yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really, I mean, it could go back to, I remember when I first started playing, I went out and I had, my dad had to, play guitar a little bit, but, he was kind of getting back into it. He never, did it professionally or anything. He just, he was left-handed, and they tried to make him play right-handed. And my grandfather was left-handed too. And I'm right-handed, but I sometimes eat left-handed because I got tired of being around left-handed people poking my elbow and taking a fork to the gum. So, so
Conform to the
sometimes he would
table.
watch me eat and go, "Are you left-handed, Kenny? You play guitar right-handed?" I'm like, "No, I'm right-handed." I just, but so he never
Family
really took
thing.
it serious, and it was, so I started with that, and then I got my first electric. It was like a Les Paul copy, and it was, whatever. After a few months of getting into it, I was like, I got to get a better guitar. And I went out and got my Fender, a 68 Fender Mustang, and candy apple red with a white racing stripe on it. And a friend of the family gave me an old 1965 Fender Princeton Reverb. And I went down and I wanted to buy a distortion pedal like my buddy had, that he had over at his house. And I was like, that thing's cool. So I went down Woodward Avenue to the music store, and they didn't have the pedal I wanted, because we got this old green tube screamer, and then so they gave me that. He said, "You'll like it," and that's Steve Ray Vaughan, and it's now a collector's item. That old beat up pedal is $350 that I paid $40 for,
Oh
new.
wow.
Yeah. But I remember taking it back, and my bass player buddy and my drummer, we were jamming, and I'd started learning some of my scales and stuff. And I turned that thing on, and I started getting feedback, and started
Mm.
bending the note thing, and it was just like I think that was like a surfer the first time they ride a wave, or the first time you start walking, as a kid, or
Mm.
riding a bike or anything. I felt my
Yeah,
calling, and there
like
was.
that's it.
And then when I was younger, I did a report on a composer, John Cage. The teacher that assigned me it said, he handpicked who we should do reports on, and he knew that I liked guitar players like Hendrix and all that experimentation stuff, music. And John Cage, believed that all noise was music. Like he'd make songs out of pounding on piano strings from underneath and all that stuff. So I always look at when my people hear like stuff on a lot of records I play, and they think I'm, using like a slide or this, that, or what effect, and I'm just using my volume control on my guitar and bending one string at a time, and then bending another one or swelling it, and then or the strings behind it, the tremolo or what. Like when you use the instrument, you know your instrument, and you can use all the things on your instrument as part of the instrument instead of it just being a on-off kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, but that might have been the first initial time where I definitely didn't know any, like I knew that was, I didn't know any better. That was going to be my life from there on, kind of thing. I felt it.
Calling.
And then, along with that, when you ask for that, though, I believe, there's a lot of stumbling blocks that have got to be turned to stepping stones if you're going to be a blues man. Because, I've had a lot of crazy, stuff in life thrown at me that I've had to deal with and channel through the music. And but it's all part of being a blues man, You haven't,
You got to live the blues to play the blues, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm still young, so I feel blessed. I've played with a bunch of blues legends through the years, like guys like Hubert Sumlin and Arlo Burnside and Buddy Guy and all these different people, and then especially through the Hendrix tours too, and just
Those are the real thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also played, I have a list here, I mean, I'm sure there's many more, but Sheryl Crow, Run DMC, Shaka Khan, you take that sixth string and you go anywhere. What was that like with like DMC?
Daryl, he's great. I mean, I worked on Run DMC. I did the School of Old record with them. Me and Bob, Kid Rock, Bob, we did a song. And then, Daryl and I, we've in recent years have worked on numerous songs. We're just good old friends. And Hurricane, we've all a lot of the guys that we that are our age group, like I'm, like
30, 35.
Yeah, at 21, but like it's I'm even a few years younger than a lot of those guys because I got thrown in it so younger. But I mean, all of us that kind of grew up in that late 80s and then through the 90s and 2000s, a lot of us went through what I call like our own little rock and roll boot camp together. So it's fun. Like look at me and Norwood and Fisher, and Steve Perkins, us playing again together. We're all, Steve and I are the same age. I used to watch Jane's Addiction all the time when I lived in LA, and it was like, I want to be in a band with him one day, and now him and I, we got 3 different things together that we're doing, and it's like, so a lot of the guys from our era, we've all kind of found ourselves again to be like, let's do what we've always wanted to do, So yeah. It's been a lot of fun with that. But I even forgot the initial question you asked. I got a little long-winded.
No, we were just on that. I just listed a bunch of people, and you just start talking about Daryl Mack and the things you guys have done. Because I talked about Shaka Khan and Sheryl Crow and just how versatile.
Shaka working with her is, I mean, like people like her, the legends like her, and the things you learn from them, and just the respect. I mean, I've always, like Gladys Knight, Shaka, Minnie Riperton, these are people that I actually have taken their songs and redone them instrumentally. Like that's their vocal. Like when I heard Gladys Knight sing for the first, like when I was a kid, and I just heard all these different layers in her voice and what she was going from this to harmony and how everything just had so much. It just took you on this journey. Even a song like Midnight Train of Georgia, any of that stuff, and it just brought me like tears. Like it was like, wow. Like what's and you'd hear her singing these notes or Shock or Aretha or any, and then I like, oh, but I can't sing like that, if I try to. So I decided that guitar was going to be my voice to learn from them, just like I kind of did like when I was trying to figure out what Miles Davis is doing on his horn lines and stuff. And that's because I like, but I also like just simple straight ahead rock and roll. Like we're talking like AC/DC. I mean, I grew up, Iggy, Jimmy, that's the Stooges, MC5, the Zeppelin, the Sabbath, Aerosmith. I mean, all those.
Paranoid.
Yeah, I mean,
Paranoid was my first song.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been the rock thing has always been a big part, but I've always, been that guitar player that likes, I've been blessed to work with like, like people play on records, like with people like in the hip hop and like R&B, you know, like Faith Evans, Kelly Price. I did that Troubled World song with them, but it was it's different now because I had to do like they sent me the song to Nashville. Like I did the guitar, sent it back to California.
Oh, one of those. Okay.
Back in the day, you know, we weren't even in the same room. So Rashak and I, you know, like we had a lot of interaction time and so many of the great legends that I have recorded with. And that's why I'm doing like an album documentary right now where we're going to different badass places. And I'm bringing these different people that a lot of people do know who, but the newer generations maybe not know. I mean, people don't even know who plays on what anymore. And everybody's got a story and a legacy they want to leave. And I've just been collaborating with the people that, you know, I've been wanting to do this with for a long time while they're still here. I mean, I've had at least 30 some people that were going to work on this project with me that are now already gone.
Oh, no.
Just because it's, you know, and it's, you know, and it's over the years because everybody like, I got to get around to doing this. So that's one of the things I'm with this madness that's been going on right now is I'm, you know,
making lemonade.
Yeah. Trying to make some stuff. And because I, you know, as an artist, a real artist, it's not about the rock and roll lifestyle or how many chicks or how much money you have. It's more the music you leave behind. I mean, you were mentioning Keith Richards earlier. I mean, that guy has been more successful. He is rock and roll. The English dictionary should just say Webster's Dictionary, rock and roll, Keith Richards. But he's still he loves making music and creating new music no matter what. And it's like, he doesn't have to. He does it because he wants to make as much as beautiful music as he can, you know. And there's guys like, you know, drummers like James Gatson, for example. He's played on so many amazing songs. You know, these guys are now getting to be 80 years old and plus, and it's and they still have a signature sound and a groove that they can lay down that's just unreplaceable. Even like, you know, even some of the old rock stuff, you know, you get like, you know, there are people just trying to play guitar or something like that, you know, but you get, you know, like my buddy Wayne Kramer, you know, MC5, you just get a guitar in their hand, or like Angus, there's certain players you just have a energy that just comes out of you, you know, that I love, you know, and it's you know, so it's, I don't know, I'm getting long-winded again.
No, we want to get long-winded. People like you, we want to talk. There's others, you know, influencers and other people who are like, tell us 4 things and shut up. Did you ever have a period where you kind of were like Van Halen everything or speed and scales as fast as possible? Because I remember my friends and I all would do that. We had the Eddie phase, and then we had the, you know, like as fast as you can play and 8-finger tapping, all that crap.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, I always, you know, like you were saying, you talked about Eruption earlier. I mean, I love, you know, Eddie's one of those guys that was introduced to something innovative that was no one else was doing, but he did it in a soulful way. You know, he still had this Clapton vibe about how he bent the notes and how he tastefully went into it. And I think players that tried to mimic, they didn't, you know, they got all technical with all this stuff, but there was no soul. There was no story to the solo. It didn't take you anywhere. It was like, you know, it just became too spastic. Like just somebody just did a bunch of blow walking up to your face and talking.
That's an Eddie solo. No, it's not. Your mental state is high.
Where it's like, you know, like people like Eddie or Randy Rhoads, you know, there were some greats that in that era that going into the 80s that, you know, I'm like, I love, you know. So I kind of left a lot of that respect, you know, like there's certain amazing slide players out there that, you know, you just kind of like, everybody's kind of got their little world. And that, you know, and I, like everybody else, first time I heard Eruption or Over the Mountain. I mean, I had to learn Over the Mountain when I heard that
Over
song.
the Mountain.
I mean, that's a face melter. Wow. You know, it's like, so
the whole song, Ozzy singing, screaming, it's perfection.
So I kind of like, but as it got into that really shreddy 80s period, you know, I still had more of my bluesier rock and roll, funky old school roots. You know, I was you know, it came more from the, you know, the playing kind of way. It's where I think those little fast little cool little things that you do are really only cool when you do them once in a while, and so they're actually heard. I mean, if you're not getting a point across if you're trying to overplay the whole time. So just never, you know, guitar was, like I said, it was more of like a voice expression thing, you know, and there was even players that, like I was saying earlier too, that, you know, weren't technically even that great of players, but they could hit a note and make you just go.
Yeah.
I mean, look at B.B. King. He's the man. It's just, you know, just three notes, right. and he took his solo way further than someone playing 150 notes good.
Yeah.
So it's
David
Gilmour was a prime example too. He was there was a lot, I think, throughout music. I mean, there was great jazz in the 40s. There was rock and roll coming around in the 50s, kind of the blues thing. Even some of the old country was that old gospel rooted crooning kind of thing. And I like, you know, I've liked just all the different ingredients of like the different eras of music. But obviously the 60s and 70s, you know, being someone, I was born in the late 60s and grew up as a kid in the 70s into the 80s. And I just, all that soaked into me. I mean, I definitely think as far as the rock scene in that late 60s, early 70s, and the experimentation that was going on is where like made that music a lot more timeless, even on the mellower side of things too. If you're going everywhere from, you know, Black Sabbath to Carole King, you know, to the Funkadelic or whatever, it just had, everybody was still, there was room for more of a, I guess, creative expression and uniqueness. But
sorry, the camera, I had to readjust. We're streaming on Instagram too. That whole technical craziness.
Oh, right on.
Cool. When I said I was going to be interviewing you, I got a million messages, texts, tweets, all kinds of stuff. Do you happen to have a guitar and amp close by?
I could, not like, I mean, I'm over at my cousin's house right now. He does have a guitar. They
just want to hear anything, any kind of guitar. You don't even have to, you know, amp up or whatever. They just wanted to hear you play a little bit.
I could send someone to go out to the car to get it.
If you could, yeah, that'd be incredible. Please do that. And we have other questions in the meantime. That would be really great. Everyone would go insane.
I think there's a guitar out there.
Yeah, because I got people from LA to New York to Miami who have requested to hear stuff that, you know, and they're guitarists. They're not guitarists like you, but they're real, you know, trying their best, and they appreciate the good stuff.
All right, on. Yeah, I'd have to. Let me wait till I see if I can get someone who'll get it. Yeah, because my car's down on the street. I'm over, you know, I'm up visiting my folks in northern Michigan right now.
Okay.
So I'm not in my own studio or anything. So.
Gotcha.
But I see he's got
the other guy, if you see him.
My cousin, he's a keyboard player and a drummer, but I don't know if there's, but I do have a guitar in the car. That's like, I got a set of golf clubs and an extra flannel and a guitar in the car at all times.
That's your go bag.
Yeah.
You never know. For the apocalypse, the zombie apocalypse, you need the guitar.
I was an extra black T-shirt, you know, and maybe an extra, you know, beanie or something too. You never know.
What was going on?
Eating and do the old like, oh man.
That's how I eat every time, Kenny. When did you come up with the Kenny Olson Cartel? Was that a buildup of stuff that you wanted to do that wasn't getting done with the Kid Rock phase? And
yeah, like a lot of that stuff was kind of just written with different friends. I mean, I'm doing this new record. I'm doing is it's gonna be it's all newer stuff I've written, and I've got a pretty good lineup of some amazing special guests. I can't really announce all of them yet, but it's gonna be the funnest record yet.
Okay, so you gotta tell us something.
A buildup of, like, I had there's a couple different singers on that record, and then I even sang on it too. Billy Cox is on that record. playing bass, Wolf as well, and Shane. There's pretty good like lineup of amazing musicians, and they're and a lot of those were different projects that I was messing around with right as after I quit playing with Kid Rock, and just kind of it ended up being just kind of a meshed together record that everyone's like, why don't you just put these all out right now and start playing some shows? And
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
What else am I gonna do? I'm not gonna play golf 10 times a day.
Yeah, I would lose. I'd be a frustrated mess.
Golf can be great, but you gotta have that rock star. You gotta plug in every once in a while.
Yeah, yeah.
The new thing, I understand it's under wraps, but is there a title for it that you're allowed to say, or is that still?
Well, I mean, we're doing several things. Obviously, we got the Think EXP thing, which that's Norwood Fisher and Steve Perkins, Scott Page from Pink Floyd, and
I interviewed him. I love him.
Derek Day.
I interviewed Scott.
Yeah, so we've been doing we've been working on this for a couple years, and that's been a lot of fun. And we have a lot of big plans for the future with it, and we all play so well together. I miss playing with those guys. I've been flying, commuting back and forth back to Los Angeles for like the last 2 years, playing with them every month. And so we've got things, and then those guys are also involved with my thing I'm doing with the Beautiful Mistakes, where I'm collaborating with these different people, and as I do this whole record and documentary series thing we're working on, and it's really organic. Nothing, everything's all set in stone yet. We're just kind of, I wanted to keep a vibe about it before and we've already started doing several different things. And I've got sessions with just awesome stories and just amazing music being created by some of the most amazing people. And it's, I'm very excited, but it's this whole Corona shit coming in, and
kind of got in the way.
And no one's been able to travel, so I don't even want to count how many shows I've had canceled, and let alone, but everybody's. We're all everyone's like, what the fuck? So
yeah.
But I'm at least trying to, there's nothing can stop me, no disease or anything, from being creative and writing. So I've been writing. I mean, I'm got more stuff than ever right now. That's actually overwhelmed.
That's incredible. That's great for us too. That's really great for us. And you said about Scott Page. That's the fully immersive experience that I talked about when I was talking to Scott. You're part of that too, right? That's amazing. I hope someday soon I can experience that.
Yeah, you got it. It's I'm having so much fun playing with them, and it's like, it's not to do the name dropping thing, but I've working with so many people through the years that I've been, your Shock is a Bootsy Collins, a Billy Cox, Mitch Mitchell, Buddy, all the people that I grew up looking up to, and Stooge Wayne. It's like it's awesome because I've almost like willed the chance, and I became friends with these people and got to work with a majority of them. And the others are just honored, the friends. But it's that band, that lineup. I mean, it's like when you see us play, it's like, and it's just funny how it's just one of those things. However, it just kind of comes around. It's meant to be. I mean, Scott and Steve. Scott and Norwood started working together. They met through Flea and Dave Moss and Perkins. They all started working on some different projects, and me and Perkins and Norwood were working on putting together our own band thing and collaborating with all these other people. And then I met Scott a few years back, and we started playing together and started doing this whole immerse thing. And we went over to Europe last summer, Budapest, and played some big festivals. And
they must have lost their mind over there.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun, but I mean, but playing with all these legendary people is awesome. But I've literally, like, in my age, me and Norwood and Perkins, like, for someone to say, told me back in the day, who would be your perfect rhythm section? I'd be like in your age group, Kenny thing. I'd be like, I would have said, you know, Steve Perkins and Norman Fisher and get Chris Cornell on vocals and got a 4-piece band from Doom. Yeah.
It's like the Blues Brothers going, we need this guy, we need that guy, we need that guy.
Yeah.
You had said Flea introduced them before? Flea from Chili Peppers?
Yeah, Flea and well, Flea and Norwood are I mean they're you know, like as thick as thieves and all this stuff. But we started doing stuff for the Watts Conservatory and stuff and raising money. So it all kind of, you know, and then Norwood and Steve were like, well, we're doing our thing with Kenny, you know, this project, we should bring him in as the guitar player thing. And Scott and I met, and then we started playing together, and it's been over 2 years now, and we got big plans with that. And obviously, like I said, with my Beautiful Mistakes album, they'll be, you know, they're my regular cronies that will be participating in different, you know, things when they can. But there are some, you know, there's, like I said, there's some old school legends from all different instruments, and then a lot of some very young up and coming too. And then it's myself and the core band will be all, you know, participating. It's kind of a thing that features everybody that's involved. So there's no, you know, but there's nothing that's gonna be able to stop us in the tracks. It's gonna be something that's gonna be ongoing, you know, as a band and as a, you know, even like hopefully the TV and all that stuff too. So.
Well, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of video. Is there going to be, like when you said documentary, that word, I thought, well, you're going to be filming this stuff and maybe, I'm just guessing, Netflixing it or something? That would be incredible. Yeah,
we're getting all the unscripted stuff too. It's like the stuff that, you know, as soon as you put a bunch of cameras on people, then they just go. Yeah. And I mean, I'd rather play guitar in front of 50 million people than talk to 20 people. I'm one of those guys who every time I've ever done like one of those little speak to a group of people, I'm like always sitting duck for the heckler. I get that one guy in the audience, like, hey, Kenny, and ask me a question I don't know the answer to, and then like, get up and walk out in the middle of it and be like,
why did you do this? Why do you do that? That's so fun. And then gets up and leaves. You gotta have somebody check your audience. Put some plants in there, Kenny. I'll be in the audience next time. We'll make it perfect.
Just tell all my, but it's like I know I need you there to protect. You could have went over there and been like, you know, hey kid, there's a someone outside, and be like, got you, Kenny. He's out.
It's all under control, Kenny. We got it. He's out. I'm in. So let me ask you this, because I talked to Eileen. Eileen, we love you. Thank you for making this happen.
Oh,
this is
the best.
Yeah, only because Eileen, I'm sitting here talking with you, the legend. She said there were some issues with Kid Rock, which, you know, I heard about, and there's some stuff. Yeah. What the hell's wrong with him?
What's that?
What's wrong with Kid Rock? Why can't he get along?
I mean, I can't.
Why can't?
Well, I didn't hear the last part. You said?
Just why can't he get along? Why can't he just roll with it? Well, why's there got to be conflict and drama?
I don't know. I mean, there was a time when him and I were doing some awesome stuff together, and we created some stuff together that was just really, you know, if we never thought in a million years we would be as big as, you know, the world would just take us over, and all these people that we looked up to are all of a sudden doing collaborations, talking about us in articles and quoting us, and we were just, you know, we had some good years, but you know, the business side of things and people, I don't know, sometimes it just kind of it changed, and it wasn't for the better. So it was you know, but it's not, I mean, I'm grateful for all the stuff that we did, you know, it's but I mean, it's too much for me to, you know, I never really go down that thing, you know, I just kind of take the high road with it and on to making more music. I can't harbor things, you know, sit around and drink a glass of your own poison. That just gives other people that negative energy, and you know, when they
so
really
it was a
don't
good time,
and
it ended. Time for new shit.
So I'm on to, you know, but you know, it's like I said, I don't regret. I mean, like I said, there was some good times where we've made some amazing things, but business sometimes is business, politics, religion, all that shit divides people.
Everything.
The
Business,
music
politics,
part
fame,
unites,
money.
and I was, there's. I'm more of one of those people that's a laid back cat, just likes to play music. I don't like to do like he's done and be, political or anything like that. Especially with how crazy shit is now, which I can just by saying that just lets you know my political beliefs and what's going on. Not feeling it.
No, I got you.
At all. Not believing it, not feeling it, not into it, and very concerned in being a father, as well. And to all their friends and family and their kids and the world that they got to grow up in now. I'm very nervous and would love to at least, all I can do on my part is, make music from the heart and soul and try to heal people and,
help heal the world.
Yeah, because like right now it's almost like, I don't know, there's some people out there that drink some jacked up Kool-Aid though, I'll tell you that.
God.
They're believing some shit that's like being told them, and it's like it's hard to even watch TV. It's like it's just a bad reality show, and every day I wake up I just want to go, I had this crazy dream that this all happened, but
Yeah, you want to wake up from it.
I mean, watch South Park. They predicted it.
South Park, I know.
I just watch South Park, and I just know how to predict my future.
I was being interviewed about the guy who made Contagion with Matt Damon. That movie, you know that one? Contagion.
Which one is it?
Contagion.
Oh,
Gwyneth Paltrow and Matt Damon. Every person he spoke to 10 years ago, all the experts said it would be at a wet market. It would involve probably a bat, and it was guaranteed to happen. And that was 10 years ago, every expert said.
Yeah.
And here we are.
I know. I mean, that's why, I know that's a good movie, and I know Matt Damon, he's a great actor. I'm scared to watch some stuff like that just because I'm already having a hard enough time sleeping, worrying about other stuff. So I'm worried if I watch one of those movies that I'll be like
putting like aluminum foil on the windows and shit. Like, that's it, don't hit the door.
Yeah.
Feel the toilets.
Forget.
Start like checking your face and everything every night, going crazy. Listen, dude, you have been an absolute pleasure. You are a genuinely cool guy. You're a rocker.
You are.
Obviously, the ability, it's out there. Everyone's seen it. It's unmistakable. It's not technical. Of course, you could be technical, but it's the soul and the heart, and that comes through. It really, even in, like you said, a single note, people know. So like he gets it. It's from the real place. Is there any possibility of that guitar in the trunk? Can we check on that?
I gotta. Let me, Jimmy. Shit, I don't. I'd have to probably run out and get it myself.
We would wait. We'll wait an hour for you. I mean, it's fine if you're out for it.
But what am I mean, they want. Well, I gotta. Shoot, I wish I would have known. I could have had it all set up. It might take a minute.
Listen. How about this? If you're willing, in a couple of weeks, we'll have it where you're set up, and we'll do it again. And you just, I'll hype it up even more.
Well, what we can do is, I would love to do that. We can do it tomorrow if you want. I mean, I got my cousin Jimmy, he's up here in Michigan. He's an amazing player, and I could even do like I could just set him up in keys, and we could do like a little stripped down thing, so I'd have something to play to instead of just sitting there like wanking and like, hey, I can make this lick and here's half of this idea. It'd be a lot more fun just to actually,
you're jamming.
And love to do it for everybody out there because
we would go crazy. Tomorrow I have Housewives, those shows, the Housewives or whatever. I have them starting at 12 noon to 5. My mind will not be able to enjoy it, and we probably don't have the time. maybe Sunday. Is that possible? Are you
Yeah.
still okay? Then I'll email you and we'll coordinate it. And we'll have
Yeah,
a
and then
little-
that way they could even like we can I'll do a couple of things. I can just have my cousin play with me. You guys will all love my little cousin. He's more the prodigy in the family than me. You know, he's like the guy.
I don't know about that. I mean,
He plays every instrument. I'm glad that he didn't he kind of left guitar alone and left that to be me. And he plays drums and keyboards and bass and plays a little rhythm guitar. But he's like, I'm like, thank God you didn't want to be a lead guitar player, you know.
Dude, don't what's that called? Step up blow up my spot.
I've already
Leave me something, man.
I've already been through the ringer, you know. Leave me at least something, man.
It's all I got, man. It's all I got.
Don't take my extension of me.
That's perfect. Okay, so what I'll do, Kenny, is I'll email you later. You'll definitely get an email from me by the end of today, which is, let's say, 8 p.m. here East Coast time, 9 p.m.
Yep.
I can't thank you enough. If you could just say your name, who you are, and that they're watching Chance TV, that would be great.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. So then, when we're done with the show, you give me a call and we'll figure out for Sunday.
Sure. Oh, I have your number. Sure, we'll do that.
Okay, we're gonna get a commitment from Jimmy. I hear him by the door. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, what's up?
Would you like to play live for everybody on Sunday?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Oh, that'd be great. Let's do this.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll set it up. Yeah, this is too quick. There was we had no roadies. No roadies, no groupies. Call the strippers. Penny, call the strippers.
Okay. Well, yeah, this is I just want to say this is okay, here we go. Ready? This is Kenny Olson, and you're watching Chance TV. And don't forget, rock stars and strippers are people too.
Love it. All right, brother. I'll talk to you later. Have a great night. Thank you,
Love you,
Kenny.
brother. Thank
You're the coolest. Bye-bye.